just chilling, vibing, doing hot girl stuff. Welcome back, YouTube. We're back with another video. Today we're gonna watch Demon Core, The True Story by Kyle Hill. I have seen the memes of the Demon Core. I have no idea what the Demon Core is, why the Demon Core is, and how they got it so freaking shiny. And if you like my videos, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. YouTube is unkind mistress, and sometimes she might not be showing my videos to you guys. And I apologize for that. Let's get straight into the video. Let's find out, what is a Demon Core? Why is a Demon Core? When is a Demon Core?
In 1946, a P-239 plutonium core scheduled for detonation by nuclear bomb was harmlessly melted down and reintegrated into the United States' nuclear stockpile. That was the end of a 14-pound metallic sphere that had killed 2 scientists not 11 months before. This is the true story of the Demon Core.
This guy's voice is so nice and calming. I love it.
The spheres of atomic material that had obliterated the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki would have easily fit in your hand, and they were light enough to carry. Because of the extreme levels of radiation coming from them, the cores were carried around in secure containers, but curious physicists reported that the cores were disturbingly warm to the touch. Both the Little Boy and Fat Man nuclear bombs use subcritical masses of uranium and plutonium respectively, meaning that no self-sustaining nuclear reaction would be possible with the spheres alone, and the nickel plating that covered them would prevent most of the escaping radiation from harming you.
Little Boy and Fat Man? What a name for 2 nuke bombs. It's just Little Boy and Fat Man. How much harm can they do?
The real harm comes later. The terrible explosions that Little Boy and Fat Man are famous for only happen when a nuclear core goes critical, using directed conventional explosives to artificially induce a critical mass. This meant literally compressing a plutonium or uranium sphere into a much smaller volume with explosions. Now, neutrons emitted from natural radioactivity would be much more likely to go on and impact other atoms before escaping, leading to a chain reaction of exponentially more and more atoms releasing tremendous energy. At the heart of an atomic blast is a radioactive core filled with atoms poised like rat traps. All the bomb itself does is force one of those traps to snap.
Oh, I always wondered how that worked, because I know about nuclear power plants and stuff, and that is a very confusing setup, but I wondered how they actually made the atomic bombs. Tickling the dragon's tail.
The so-called Demon Core was the third core of fissionable nuclear material made during the World War II era. It was also supposed to be dropped on Japan, but after the Empire's prompt surrender following the obliteration of Nagasaki, the core had no immediate military use. Instead, a physicist working at the Los Alamos National Laboratory in New Mexico after the war decided to use the remaining core to figure out just what it takes to make a core like this go critical. When Otto Robert Frisch first arrived in the United States, he was placed at Los Alamos to study neutron multiplication in uranium and plutonium. These elements naturally radiate neutrons in the process of nuclear decay, and as we said, if there is enough of the radioactive element close enough together, these neutrons can go on to cause the rat trap style reaction as neutrons slam more neutrons free from other atoms. However, there is another way to force criticality other than just having a giant sphere of plutonium, which would be hard to make. It turns out that if you use a very thick material to reflect neutrons coming out of the material back upon itself, like a mirror would, a self-sustaining reaction can occur with substantially less plutonium or uranium. Even though an explosion might not happen after criticality is reached in all cases, a deadly blast of radiation certainly could.
Science is wild.
And that's exactly what happened. By 1944, Frisch was leading the critical assembly group at Los Alamos and started a dangerous series of near-criticality testing. The physicists in the group wanted to use neutron-reflective materials around spheres of plutonium and uranium to see just how close they could get to going critical, without explosives, and without going over the edge. Commenting on the inherent risk of experiments of this kind, legendary physicist Richard Feynman reportedly said that the experiments were like, quote, tickling the tail of a sleeping dragon, end quote.
I love that quote because it's like, you know, you're risking it. At any point, the dragon could just wake up.
But even with the very real possibility of being roasted alive by the radioactive fire of a failed criticality test, the tickling the dragon's tail experiments continued. Within 2 years, neutron reflection experiments on the Daemon core would claim the lives of 2 scientists, Harry K. Daghlian Jr. and Louis Slotin, in almost the exact same way.
The half-life of Harry Daghlian.
On August 21st, 1945, Harry K. Daghlian Jr. was conducting a criticality experiment with the Daemon core. He was placing tungsten carbide bricks around the mass of plutonium to see how many bricks and in what orientation it would take to reflect enough neutrons to cause the core to go critical.
But I feel like that's so dangerous. Just like starting to place bricks to see how many you needed for it to go.
That afternoon, using a Geiger counter-like device to measure the radiation coming off of the plutonium, he got close enough to criticality that he decided to end the experiment. Now, this result should have been worth just a few graphite streaks in a notebook and maybe a beer at the local bar with the other physicists, but Daghlian was curious. Later that night, he returned, alone, to his assembly for another test.
Oh no. Doing something alone is always setting you up for some kind of disaster or extreme geniusness.
Like the tests before, Daghlian created an orientation of bricks that his measuring device told him was nearly critical. As he was placing one last brick, the measuring device indicated that the core would go critical if he continued on the assembly. The dragon would wake up. So cautiously, he began removing the final brick, and then he dropped it. The moment the brick hit the assembly, the Daemon core instantly went supercritical. And according to Daghlian, there was a blast of blue light and a wave of heat. Daghlian reacted quickly, though, and used his right hand to knock the dropped brick all the way to the floor. In those fractions of a second, Harry had received a fatal dose of radiation. In fact, he had endured what was likely the highest acute dose of radiation of any human in history.
Damn, even higher than the people that were like climbing into the reactor cores for the nuclear power plant outbreak that happened in Russia, Chernobyl.
25 days later, Daghlian fell into a coma and died from organ failure owing to severe radiation poisoning.
Tragic.
This photo, taken 9 days after the accident by medical staff, is of the hand that Harry had used to stop the Daemon core. He was 24.
Damn. Tragic.
Harry wasn't completely alone and experimenting in the lab that night. A security guard, Private Robert J. Hemmerly, was also sitting at his desk next to Daghlian reading his newspaper. Hemmerly died 33 years after Daghlian Jr. from what is now considered to be radiation-caused leukemia. He was 29 and the father of 2 at the time of exposure. Harry K. Daghlian Jr. was the first official fatality from a criticality accident and the first American casualty of the atomic age. He had arranged to have his body donated to science after his inevitable end so that scientists could study the effects of radiation exposure on the human body.
What do you think the body would still have radiation on it at all? Because he was exposed to radiation. Would that make his body radioactive as well? Because I know Chernobyl with the explosion, a lot of the area is still to this day radioactive. It hasn't dispersed yet, depending on where it is in the blast zone. So would his body also be radioactive? And what about the place, the science lab? Would the stuff around that become radioactive?
During the 25 days after his fatal mistake, Daghlian's colleague Louis Slotin spent many hours at his bedside, comforting the 24-year-old as radiation poisoning slowly claimed him.
Aww.
Exactly 7 months later, in the same hospital, Louis Slotin would suffer the exact same fate.
Was it because he was near him? Nuclear cowboy.
By 1946, physicist Louis Slotin had taken over the critical assembly group from Frisch. Though the criticality experiments were moved from the Omega site at Los Alamos to the Palajito laboratory, the dangerous nature of the experiments did not change. In addition to Feynman's continued warnings, physicist Enrico Fermi said that, quote, "Keep doing that experiment that way, and you'll be dead within a year." But Louis Slotin wasn't worried, and the experiments continued. On May 21st, 1946, Slotin was conducting another criticality experiment with the Daemon core. This time, though, instead of using tungsten bricks, Slotin was testing the critical point of the core by placing it inside two half spheres made of beryllium and lowering those halves until there was just a sliver of space before the sphere was complete. If the core was completely enclosed, the reflection of neutrons would be total, and the dragon would wake again. The local expert among experts, Slotin was reportedly brash in his experimental protocols. In his signature pair of blue jeans and cowboy boots, Slotin would perform the criticality tests without the fail-safe spacers.
I love how people just remember him as like the guy with the cowboy boots. Iconic.
That would sit on the half spheres and keep it from ever completely closing. Instead, he would put his bare hand on the top half sphere and attempt to lower it using only the blade of a flathead screwdriver. That way, he could get much closer to criticality. And Slotin had successfully completed this experiment dozens of times.
But
the afternoon of the accident, Louis Slotin was conducting the same screwdriver experiment as 7 other colleagues recorded and watched. It was just like the test before, but for whatever reason, this time, the screwdriver slipped. The moment the spheres touched, the Daemon core went prompt critical. The reflected neutrons coming from the plutonium inside the sphere instantly initiated supercriticality.
I don't know. I don't think I could trust myself holding onto a screwdriver or a brick, apparently.
Like the Daglin accident, there was a flash of blue light and a wave of the dragon's heat before Slotin could flip the top half sphere off of the assembly. Naturally, the 7 other scientists in the room ran out as fast as they could as the accident occurred, but Slotin shouted them all to get back and tossed them a stick of chalk. He told them each to mark down precisely where they were standing. By establishing their positions relative to the Daemon core, Slotin would be able to calculate just how much radiation each person had just absorbed.
Just to see how quick you're gonna die. Oh my goodness. I mean, for science, right?
And how much their lives had just been shortened. According to physicist Ramer Schreiber, who was present in the room with Slotin that day, Slotin's first words immediately after the incident were, quote, "Well, that does it." Louis Slotin died.
Oh, so tragic.
Died of severe radiation poisoning 9 days later at the age of 35. He died in the same hospital as Harry Daghlian Jr. on another Tuesday the 21st as a result of the same accident with the same hunk of radioactive material. They even were cared for by the same nurse. The demonstration that day was supposed to be the final demonstration with the core before it was used in a test detonation, and it was. In those few moments, Louis Slotin had been exposed to over 1,000 rads of radiation from the neutrons and gamma rays blasting out of the Daemon core. This is possibly the highest dose of radiation any human has ever taken. As a comparison, 1,000 meters from ground zero in Hiroshima, the neutron radiation was measured as less than half of what Slotin had absorbed in those fractions of a second.
Oh, that's cool. They made a movie. I didn't know they made a movie about that.
Since 1945, over 60 criticality accidents have been recorded, leading to at least 21 deaths in facilities and labs all around the world. The flash of blue light that so often accompanies these incidents is an indication of the invisible radiation being released. As high-energy particles crash through the air, like these particles exiting a cyclotron, they excite the air molecules. The only way for these molecules to return to a lower energy state is to release some radiation of their own, photons of light. But while gases can absorb and re-emit the energy imparted to it by nuclear material, human bodies cannot. Instead, particles and gamma rays flying out of the nuclear cores rip electrons from the molecules that make you up and smash your cellular machinery beyond repair. When enough molecular damage is done, radiation sickness can manifest itself as everything from vomiting and diarrhea to blisters, inflammation, impaired cognition, widespread organ failure, confusion, nausea, high fever, dizziness.
Exactly like in Fallout.
5 weeks later, on July 1st, 1946, a different nuclear core was destroyed in a 23-kiloton air-deployed nuclear weapon over Bikini Atoll. It was supposed to be the end of the Daemon core. Instead, the Daemon core was melted down and redistributed throughout the rest of the United States stockpile, effectively getting a brand new half-life. Until next time.
Nuclear bombs are freaking scary!
Yeah. Story time with Kyle's a little serious, huh? Thank you so much to the very nerdy staff at the facility for the direct and substantial
I like his little snake shirt.
support in the creation of this here video. Today especially, I want to recognize research assistant Roydon Houghton, who's definitely not a Pokemon, and visiting scholar Max Concurrent. Oh, Maximum at the same time is what your parents should have named you. If you want to join the facility, if you want to get a lab coat, get on the staff, you want to talk to me in our Discord, give me episode ideas, get episodes early, join our Magic the Gathering League, D&D nights, all this great nerdy stuff, you can join at patreon.com/KyleHill right now. And if you support the facility just enough, you get your name on RA here each and every week. And as you can see, there's literally hundreds and hundreds of you, so I don't know how I'm going to pass the it's not fun, these accidents and their stories. As I've been saying for weeks, you know my thoughts on nuclear weapons. They're terrible, terribly destructive. I don't think we should ever use them. I
agree.
think we should even have them. If you want to know more of my thoughts, you can go to the end of history video back on the channel.
We're better off using the nuclear stuff for nuclear power in, safe space, like controlled environments. And not as weapons. Make love, not war.
And look, I could lighten the mood here with some, hey, it's fun Kyle Science Guy factoid, but I'm not going to, okay? I could tell you that according to a recent study, platypuses are fluorescent, but
we love the platypuses. I don't know why they glow blue. Why blue?
I wouldn't say that. I want you to sit here and think.
But you did. Making a joke in a serious situation doesn't take away the serious situation. I think humor is the best way humans can cope with the sadness and reality of death, life, and robots.
Think about it. I wouldn't say anything ridiculous like that about platypps.
Platypps. Love the platypps.
Thanks for watching.
Majestic hair. Oh, he has a video on Chernobyl. That's so cool. But why? I have one more question. Why is this thing a meme? Why is this a meme? Where did this meme start from? Peace was never an option? I'm just chilling, vibing, doing hot girl stuff? Oh, sweet, man-made horrors beyond my comprehension. A demon court? But wait, who started this meme? Why is this a thing? Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Please comment below where this meme started, because I need to know, because apparently there is a ton of them. And if you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Goodbye.